Welcome to Tiki Tuesday Talks on a Thursday. We're here on a Thursday because we have an absolutely legendary crew that only Guillaume and Plantation can pull together. Let's get everybody over here. Wow. First time with 10 people, and what a posse. Scotty, where you at? What's going on?
How you doing, everybody? I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. How you doing?
What?
I'm Cowboy.
A lot of tiki in Ohio. A lot of tiki.
Yep. Shout out to Porco's.
There you go.
Yeah.
The homies, for sure. Paul McGee, what's going on? Where you at?
Nothing much. I'm in New York, about an hour north of the city.
Oh, right on. Right on. Where specifically?
In a little place called Pound Ridge in Westchester County.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Not much
Very
here.
cool. Looks very nice, very classy in that background. Not much here. Yeah. Quaint. Call it quaint.
Very quaint. Very quaint.
Yeah. Alexander, how are you, sir?
Hello, sir. Good to see everybody. It's wonderful.
So good, so good. And you're in France?
Yes, I am in Cognac. I'm at the distillery in Cognac.
Perfect. Good access to quality booze.
Yeah, and hopefully good internet as well. You know, because we are really.
You're doing great so far.
Not a bit surprised.
Aaron, you got a nice setup over there.
What's going on, everybody? How are you?
More plants than ever. Always good to see from you.
Yeah, you know, the vegetal environment of Baltimore, Maryland provides a great atmosphere for tropical weather.
Excellent, excellent. Beachbum, we got you on. Lovely to see your face.
Happy to be anywhere, but I'm very happy to be here.
It's a good way to describe it. 2021, happy to be anywhere.
Absolutely.
Paul, where you at? What's going on?
I'm sitting here right near the home of rum in the UK, just a stone's throw from Notting Hill in West London.
Perfect. I like your cushions there. Very festive. Going well with the shirt.
Yeah, I'm loud and proud.
Dave Wondrich. How's Brooklyn? We'll come back to you. Oh.
Well, I don't know. My I've got Brooklyn backyard internet, so you can only imagine it fell off of the truck. And sometimes, it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. But right now, it's not working so great. But I am here in Brooklyn.
Cox competitor there. Comcast Cox.
What's that?
So it's a good
what was
competitor to Time Warner. Time Warner Comcast competitor. Brooklyn backyard.
Yeah, I got the bada bing Wi-Fi.
Well said, sir. Well said.
So, but yeah, I'm here in Brooklyn, and in my fortress of solitude, just watching the world go by. All very pleasant, and
well, it's great to see your face. It's great to see your face, and bear with us. We love seeing you and hearing from you.
Likewise.
Kimberly.
Hello.
Kimberly, what's up? You're in NOLA as well?
Yeah, I'm here living in the French Quarter. It's not a bad place to be stuck.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And you got a fridge behind you that's ready to supply you with beverages as needed as we get through this session.
Very true.
Guillaume, I think you're muted, but we'd love to say hi.
Hey guys, great to see everybody. I'm still in the same place I was a year ago. Surrounded by my samples, they're all starting to talk to me now. It's that bad.
Wow.
So yeah, let's have some fun, guys.
Sounds like a good live stream. Amazing. Well, Aaron and Kim, we'll see you in a little bit. Let's get this started here. So just a quick intro from my side. I'm sure you guys have known if you've seen us before. As we have here, almost everyone in this amazing posse that was behind the making of OFTD. You guys are going to learn all about it. Shout out to Martin Cade, who couldn't be here, but who we all love dearly. And just some quick intro elements, chat box and questions. If you guys are on Facebook, Zavvy, hit us with questions. We'll try and get them in as we go. There's a lot of nuggets of wisdom we want to hear from everybody here. but we'll try and filter that in. Please feel free to share the event, view the event after. It will also be on YouTube. Presentation, who the hell knows how long. Cocktail, we'll try and get to it, and we'll bring Kimberly back. So with that all said, I'm going to hand it off to Guillaume.
All right. Well,
to
thank
get
you,
into
Pete.
the presentation here.
Right. So what I did, guys, was really simple. Is just go back in time and walk down memory lane, and that was a kind of an emotional journey. But we have a lot of guys here, and yes, Martin couldn't make it, and he told me that he was going to definitely have one on us today. And he's definitely one of the brothers, and it's so good to see all the brothers reunited once again. It's not the last time, I'm sure, and there's going to be a real-time physical reunion very soon. I'm pretty certain of that. So the OFTD journey, I think it's important for everybody to really know how it all started. So it all started there. It was, and that's funny because it's almost to this day 6 years ago. And it was Cocktail on tour, Stars of the Cocktail on tour in Mexico City. And I had just 2 days ago, I had a conversation with Martin and with Paul McGee about old overproof dark rum that were used in classic recipes, and and they were a little bit frustrated because they could not always find what they wanted or the type of the aromatic profile that they were looking for those classics. And I was thinking about this. I was in my hotel room, and and I saw Jeff Berry down the street, from my hotel room. And I was like, but of course, we just got to make one together. That's the way.
First, you had to scrape me off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So that was like the idea, but like the vision was Jeff walking down the street in Mexico City. I was like, oh, but of course, I'm talking to Martin and talking to Paul. I'm sure Jeff, has the same exact idea on the subject, so you know what, let me talk to him. So, I had the idea of like doing this basically. And then before I called everybody, I decided to really call Alexander because I almost called everybody without calling Alexander because he's the master blender and the proprietor of the brand. So, that's the right thing to do.
Every once in a while.
Alexander, I don't know, you remember that phone call? No, you do?
Absolutely. I totally remember it.
So anyways, he thought that was a good idea. So here we were, I called Martin, I think, and then Paul from my hotel room. I went down in the lobby, talked to Jeff, and 3 of them were already in. And it was basically almost no time before we were able to assemble the dream team, and that's all the guys. So this is like the deck that we had back in the days when we launched it, when we wanted to explain to people who was behind that incredible blend. Okay, but that was Dr. David Wondrich, Jeff Berry, Paul McFadyen, Martin Kate, Paul McGee, Scotty Schuder, and of course Alexandre Gabriel. This was the dream team. So now, when I did my research for the last 2 weeks, I actually found the original email that I sent to everybody. And I sent that email on May 4th, 2015, which is really creepy. Because remember, Pete, we were supposed to do that session on May 4th.
We were.
So that's kind of weird.
That is wild. Yeah.
So anyways, here's the email. Right? Dear all, I hope this email finds you well. I spoke with Alexander. He's very excited to work with you on revisiting Plantation Overproof rum because we did an overproof before. We enjoy the current Plantation Overproof, but we would like to go back to the drawing board to take overproof rum to a new level, sort of go back to the roots of overproof or tiki cocktails. We have all given it a lot of thought, but really we want to listen to you and put our heads and palates together to come up with something better. Wasn't the world always changed by a small group of very determined people? Well, here the goal is to change the world of overproof rum, our magnificent 7 of overproof R, blah, 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 blah. And then I sent that link to everybody to put them in the spirit. So hopefully it works. But let's see if I get a good connection on the internet.
I'm
doesn't
Nick
work.
Niven, and I'm a StreamYard user.
I was so proud of myself.
Hey, Martin.
All right.
It's the internet. It's the Brooklyn backyard internet service.
The last 6 years, I've been live streaming consistently to YouTube.
Anyways, we don't need this. So my point is, I sent them the music and the whole trailer of the movie, The Magnificent Seven, to get those guys super motivated to do a great job. And then, I was told by marketing at the time that Magnificent Seven might be copyrighted, so we might not use that. So whatever.
Probably true.
It's okay.
Hey, Guillaume, real quick, before you continue on, somebody said it. I think it's a pretty great idea. Maybe we should do a little toast to Rocky.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll crack a bottle for that.
Yeah, let's crack a bottle for that. We'll wait.
To Rocky, who is dearly missed and was from the day of the creation of OFTD, a fervent ambassador and loyalist of this beautiful baby. To Rocky, guys.
Rocky. Love that man.
Oh.
That always OFTD always sets up the inner dog in me as well. Sometimes I just howl at the moon all night.
Look, hey guys, we were pretty organized. Look at this. We had a timeline, right? So in May, share with us, the description of the proof and taste profile, so that we wanted to put all the minds together. And we say it's an interesting exercise, because if whatever you want to put down as your wish list on what you want, we'll find some ways to have an agreement. So that was really looking for the roadmap. And then in June, the whole idea was for Alexandre and the team in Cognac to come back with some drawing board options and already start on some kind of, what they call in France, maquette, like a model. And July was our first meeting at Terres de Cocktail. And that's when we wanted to get together and meet and try to define a blend together. And frankly, when we decided to do this, I don't know if any of you ever did that before, but I had never done this before. I had no idea where we were going or if we were going to make it happen, because it's a lot of people, but we made it happen. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, right? But this is the first meeting. Remember? You guys remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have no recollection of that, but yes. I blame sales.
So we booked a room at Arnaud's, right? And the guys at Arnaud's like, why do you want to book a room in the middle of the afternoon and not eat anything? Well, that's because we want to taste some products, but we don't want to, hurt or, damage our palate, because we want to taste the blend. But what are you doing with all these guys? It's like, we can't tell you, it's confidential. And this guy is like, well, we need to know what you want to do in that room. It's like, okay. We are some friends together that want to taste some rum and maybe blend some rum together, but you cannot say anything about this, because frankly, that was like a big thing. And this was, remember guys, what Alexandre smuggled?
Mm.
Those are the questions that we all ask each other. What is an overproof rum? What proof should it be? What taste profile? What rums should be in it? How old? For what applications? Those are all the different blending elements that Alexandre brought. He also got some little, what do you call that in English, Alexandre? Those little pipette.
Oh, yeah.
You can call it that.
Pipette. Yes. And then we had some examples of what was done in the past, some blends that we did, and Martin and Jeff were, that was so nice of them to sell some of the prized elements of their collection, at cost, so that we could really take a look into what was done back in the 1930s and 1940s. Do it right, which means like analyzing it, but also like do a GC analysis, but also a sensory analysis, and come back with elements that would make sense for that first session. Anybody has some recollection of what happened there? Or
I remember something specifically. I remember it was a very hot and sweaty day.
Yeah.
I've been very nervous about this project, working alongside of all you guys who are all my idols, and I was very happy to be part of this project, but also very nervous. So I'm sitting at the table looking at all these rums that I've only looked at pictures of that we're about to try, which is the photo you just showed. And I'm getting more sweaty even though there's air conditioning. And Mr. Wondrich shows up about 10 minutes late with a bottle of Sazerac, and he gives us all laybacks out of the bottle. And that's how the whole thing started, right after that. And then you sat down and we all just started to go to work. We cut the tension right away, Layback from the bottle, Mr. Wondrich.
You're in New Orleans,
Yeah.
You gotta
I do sometimes wonder how much of being in New Orleans at that time shaped the project, because that city has such a relentless rhythm, and of course Tales is so full on, and the energy levels in a room were so hyped, and of course our palates were probably quite jaded. What New Orleans and Tales that day. I'm sure that the sort of spirit of New Orleans sort of infused how we approached that. I certainly like to think so.
Well, it's funny you mentioned palates being jaded, because mine definitely was. But we were tasting some blends that Alexandre and his team had put together, which really sparked the main, as I recall, and it's been 5 years and a lot of bottles under the bridge. But as I recall, the main debate that went on was what the application for the rum should be, because when we entered the room, I thought, like every other person who had an interest in a tiki bar, that it should be something for like really high octane punches like zombies and Navy Grogs and all that. But when I tasted the first few blends, I thought, well, this is a sipper. Why can't a sipper be 120, 130 proof the way a lot of whiskeys are, the way even some gins are? And it was too, for me, it was too good to mix, really. And that's what started this back and forth, because we had all these tiki guys there saying, well, no, that's not, it may be too good to mix, but we have to have something that we can mix, because there needs to be a practical application for this. Otherwise, why are we here? And that, to me, was the most interesting part of the day, aside from the actual tasting, of course, and the wonderful aroma emanating from Scotty next to me.
We played it back to you.
But I don't know. Does anybody else remember that whole thing about? I mean, Paul, I remember you were pretty vocal about, no, I need something I can mix with, and I believe Martin was as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, obviously, like, lucky enough to be involved in it and everything, but also being able to shape a rum that was not just heat. Like, I think when you taste some of these other overproof rums that are in that 140, 150 proof realm, like they're just bringing heat. They're not bringing any character at all. So yeah, I think it turned out really great, because it does stand up on its own, but also you want to be able to sell cases of this stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to put it in your zombies and put it in your cocktails and stuff like that too. So.
No, I know. I wanted to be able to make punches with it, like big bowls of punch. And I was kind of for having it be a little lower in proof than a 151, because I found those just always tend to be really thin for me, because there's just so much alcohol. There's not enough room for like other stuff to give it some body. So I think I was the one who suggested we do it at 20 degrees overproof English, just so we could say that it's an old proof. But it was, I don't know if they ever made anything at 20 degrees overproof, but it comes out at 138, which is close enough to 151 that you could still light it on fire and float it and all that. But it gave it I think it helped get us a little room for body in there, which is what we were arguing about. Yeah.
This is exactly how we decided on that 69. That's very true.
It's funny just to jump in on this.
Well, maybe proof, but a different one.
To jump in on this, it's funny because I've been working with, different master blenders and master distillers, and usually one-on-one. And Dave and I had a few babies together.
Okay. Let's be very clear here.
How does that work exactly, Alexander?
I'm trying to speak English, you know. How does that come
When
out?
two men love a bottle of rum very, very much.
Exactly. And then, you know, like Stiggins and Guillaume, you've seen Guillaume. I mean, Guillaume keeps me organized, right? And Guillaume, I want to say, Guillaume, he's really the godfather of this project that you've seen. And I guess we're all fathers. And I actually sit at the table right now, you see in the background, where we had that baby together, you know, and where we worked when we were all in France. So, but what was funny is Guillaume said, you know, you always work one-on-one and you love to share knowledge with different people. How about a team? I'm like, okay. And then, you know, we started and he says, you know, I really think we should, and I mean, you guys are all friends for a long, long time. So I'm like, but I know you're all like so opinionated about what you love. And I'm kind of that guy as well, right? And I'm like, okay, that's going to be interesting. And remember that discussion about the proof that lasted. And I think it's, you know, everybody had a thing. And I remember David bringing in what you just said. And I was like, all right, it's going to go ahead. And then I remember bringing back then, because you put all these ideas in my head. I worked here with the team and we prepared these blends that I had to smuggle. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but to smuggle to New Orleans, you know, and imagine that little French redneck going through customs and saying, you know, nothing to declare. And I literally had like metal cakes with inside. I figured it wouldn't, you know, through the x-ray, it wouldn't show too much. And I had like all these different Zin little bottles in that, so we could sit together. That was really exciting to show you these first blends, you know, that I had to work with. And then, you know, looking forward for the trip back to France. So that was kind of, I thought that was really exciting. But I was nervous like everybody else here, and especially like, you know, because the first time I worked with a team like this on a job that's my everyday job, right? Blending as a master blender. And I thought it was great. I love the whole thing. And I love the input. I love the discussions. And you know, that was really triggered a lot of ideas in my head. It was a storm. When I left New Orleans, it was like a storm in my head.
Well, anyways, I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer here, but we did not make it happen that summer. That was a good one, though. That was the first draft was super important. But you know, I remember the end of that meeting when you said, "Okay, I got some things, right? But we still need to work on some other options because we did not completely agree on everything yet, right?" Yeah. And that's when we decided to go to France. You know, because Scotty Schuder's there anyway, so why not? But this was the second trip, right? You guys remember this? Remember that night?
Oh yeah.
That was in Paris in that beautiful bar, Scotty.
You're there, but my barman's blocking your face out of the picture. How did that happen? You're right behind him. You're there.
Yeah, but
Scotty,
it's okay.
Were you in that movie Zizou with Bill Murray? Is that where you were shooting that day, and then you popped over?
That's my winter attire in France. Okay.
But we decided to all meet in Paris and then go down to Cognac and then finish the damn thing. And I think that really you know, pinned the nail down. The fact that we were on a second trip together, you know, and really having a great experience, and then being at the source of a lot of the ingredients. You remember that photo, guys?
Oh yeah.
We spent a lot of time in the cellars, not just tasting rum, by the way. You know, but we tasted a lot of things, and that demijohn doesn't seem that heavy, if you see what I mean.
Yes, we were polygluttons.
So that we could lift it.
So this was the room, right, Alexander? Is that the table where you gave birth?
No, that was a multiple birth here. That's where we work now. So where I sit, I just realized, by the way, when we jumped in, that's where I'm sitting right now. And I remember us bringing crates and crates of glasses when we do a blend, and altogether we went to 300 glasses. I was told by the team here. You know? So,
wow.
And they were not all empty.
No, but look, hey, I'm sorry to say, but it looks very serious and very organized. Look at all those glasses; they look like a Roman army. Seriously, they're all information, you know. So that specific moment is interesting because, you know, I think that's when we finalized it, like late that night, and we talked about different elements and different things to put in. And I remember, Jeff, you're right. There was that discussion about also making a sipper, and I think we, you know, we succeeded very well at that. But what was very interesting was really the add of a new element. Remember, I think it's David or Alexander that thought about putting some Barbados in there. Remember?
Yeah.
Can I jump in here? It's actually I remember this very moment though. You remember, like, because when I went back to France, everybody, I had like, you know, all these ideas, right? I was listening, and I remember, Jeff, you said you listen a lot. You remember you told me this, and yes, because you know you need to like really get everything in, right? And you guys know your stuff, and I'm on the creative side, so you know, and so coming back here and tasting everything, and I think what was great is that we visited the different and tasted so many barrels and vats, and we're fine tuning the blend. And I remember very well David sitting next to me and saying, Alexandre, I really like it, but remember that vat, you know, because we tasted like some Barbados rum. Remember, guys? And David said, you should tweak it. He said, you know, this, remember? And he said, and what I want to say that before we go technical on this is also we are trying to be creative with finding a name with this product, which is the hardest part for me. You know, I mean, a lot of you are great writers. I am not, right? And so we're trying to find a name. And I remember David saying, Alexandre, it was an off conversation. You know, pirates call each other's, was it nasty face or shit face, something like this? David, you explained to me. He said, Plantation, nasty face, I don't know. And then I think, Jeff, you saying, well, we're 7 people, the 7 sinners. I said, wow, that sounds really religious, you know, and you know, so we're like, okay, you know, screw it, we'll call it, you know, Plantation Overproof or whatever. And I remember that day when we tweaked the blend with this tiny little notes of that Barbados, the Bayesian rum from West Indies. And I remember, David, you saw the picture, standing up and saying "Eureka," something like that, right? And he said it in French.
Quite that.
Yeah, he said it in French, which I think is like, "Oh fuck, that's delicious," right? Something like that.
Yeah, that was my French.
And I thought, yeah, I thought that was great because that was us, right? That was who we were. And you know, we're in the heart of Cognac, where you have all the VSOPs. So we thought OFTD would sound pretty good, and then we left it and went back to work. Until we decided maybe to get it approved that the TTB OFTD was oh fuck, that's delicious, might be difficult. I don't remember, it was Paul or somebody else who said
that was Baron McFadyen, I think.
Yeah, well, that was probably my only notable thing because of course old-fashioned traditional dark is a redundancy. You wouldn't have old-fashioned and traditional in the same phrase. It's completely useless, and therefore right in my wheelhouse.
So that was the little thing, and I thought that was kind of, and then we went back to work, you know, and continued to this. But that was kind of a fun high point. And but Guillaume is right. That was a lot of work. It sounds like you know, a lot of tastings, a lot of things, and very exciting. Very exciting day. Great.
And our ladies were there too, which was great. You know, that's
true.
Great.
That was good. We had a nice dinner after that. That was a lot of fun, and we found it. I mean, that's it. We finished that product that night, guys. This was the night.
It didn't look like we were going to, though. You know, I think the reason I suggested we put some Barbados in there is I desperately wanted to get finished. So let's try something else. Because I wish Martin were here, but Martin is a very hard guy to please. Martin doesn't like anything, and we kept trying this, and you know, Martin's like, no, Jeff a little bit too. these guys are tough. I'll drink anything, and I think I'm not alone in that with some of our fellows here. But we had like Los Exigentes there who were like, no, and it's like, okay, we got to try something, anything just to move the needle here. So let's put some of that Barbados pot still, or mostly pot still, in, and see if that changes the dynamic, because we tried about 20 different blends of the same ingredients, and the answer was always no.
Well, here's the thing.
Well,
back to the Tiki forefathers, Barbados brings that creamy roundness. It's such a great harmonizing component. As soon as you suggested it, it was like obviously, like
Barbados brought civilization.
We had these strong disparate components, and of course Barbados is going to bring that creamy harmonizing element to it.
It was Lebowski's rug. Tie the room together.
Hey, I tell you one thing, guys. I would have been ready for a third trip and a third reunion, if we didn't find it. I would have been fine.
You screwed it up, man.
It's funny you say that.
We could have kept hitting a wall, going back to France 3-4 times, but no.
Hey, you guys want to make it 2.0?
There you go.
No arguments to me.
That's actually a question on the chat, guys. It's a question on the chat. Is there another group project in the future?
Well,
maybe the start of it.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the big difference between now and then is that now we have a marketing department. So,
oh no.
So we don't really do what we want anymore.
Of course, Martin has an incredible agent as well. It's very difficult to afford that man nowadays. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was fun. So this is a cool picture too, because remember, this was the launch at Tales of the Cocktail.
Oh, there we go.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. And we even got nominated. We even got nominated for Best New Product.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are in such a pleasant orientation of colors with those shirts as well in this photo. Very aesthetic.
Yeah, except for one guy with his jacket. I don't know what he's doing.
The suit.
Oh, he's the boss.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I think also what would be really cool is to show everybody what's under the hood, right? Because we'll be talking about blending ingredients, and I was able to find some information. So we all got that it's a blend of Barbados, Guyana, and Jamaica. But Alexander, you want to talk a little bit about volatile substances and higher alcohol, or do you want to go like quickly on this so that we have?
I just want to explain, what was the thinking and how I worked, because remember we had some old rums that were overproof that were supplied. Martin Jeff supplied, also Paul McGee has talked to me about all of you came in and had certain ideas, and what it translates to is really the two families of rum taste, and there's many with rum, as you know, but the two main elements you play with in this is first what we call the esters. The volatile substances are the elements of aromas, most part of the elements of aromas in a rum, right? And then so when you have the esters, that's your Jamaica. I'm going fast, but that's the Jamaica elements, And then the higher, and we don't need to go with all the formulas. And by the way, I want to tell something to everybody: never be impressed by a molecule when it's about spirit. The only way to go is using your nose and your palate. And I promise you, I got, my team working with me, 2 PhDs, and, when they started working here, they realized the first thing they need to do is train their nose and their palate. And yes, knowledge is great, but again, you have the esters, which is just Jamaican fruit compound, and then you got the pot still Guyana, which is like the raw chocolate notes, that you find brandy notes and so on. And of course, Barbados is a binder, because Barbados has got a level of sophistication using both elements. And so, it holds everything together. And I thought, when I thought about, making an overproof, if having, and you guys know I'm blending a lot of rums. And so I thought that'd be beautiful to use these 3 different terroirs because they express different range of aromas. Think about notes, right? You're playing with different ranges. And also it's very historical about rum, and that's the beauty of rum. There's a long history of blending different terroirs to create range and to create depth. There's also an element not many people really look at, but the semi-volatile and non-volatile compounds, which most of them comes from aging, you know, the wood extracts. And here what I've worked with is both American oak, think the Sweden notes that American oak, everybody knows about probably, you know, the vanilla and of course the whiskey lactone, like the coconuts, but also the spicy notes of French oak. Very important, you know, in the taste profile. And also something I'm gonna, as you know, I love transparency and tell everything and all. When we analyze these super old rums, we realized they had like they had a special burnt sugar in them, like a caramel, but fully caramelized, but made in a specific way. And where like that brought a special kind of elements and quite a bunch in it. That's why also it brought the color even darker. And so what we did, I know a guy here in Cognac, and this guy does toasting and you know, with different type of sugars and different things. And I don't think he ever really gave everybody's details on this, but we had also to work on that element because that was part of the overproof rums that you guys supplied to me. So, you know, we had to hold all these pieces together, you know, to be able to do that and to do the different blends that I showed you guys, you know, and then what I did as well, there's the secret of a master blender is what we call bonificateur, you know, these supercharged, very tannic elements. If you're a bartender, you'd call it probably you know, a bitters or something like this. But in this case, it takes 20 years to produce, which is this kind of over-aged elements. Remember, I brought some New Orleans, and so you can tweak the blend and add this element of depth. So it's a lot of different rums that are put together, including the last one that David suggested, you know, that we put in it. You see here the distillery, West Indies Rum Distillery, where I work when there's no COVID, about 1 week every month. You see that still, the still on the left, it's called the Old Greg. It was built in 1850. And so that's the pot still, the dominant pot still element that David liked is distilled from that still, for example. So kind of rather meaty, you know, a nice, you know, especially in the Bayesian, the Barbadian origin. And so, you know, I'm not going to go to all the elements of rum that in there. You know, actually, we had, you know, our good friends, you know, coming sometimes and asking me to deconstruct it, you know, and if you read Cocktail Wonk, you'll see all the deconstructions, but there's quite a few elements there. So I just wanted to explain the way we built this and the way we tweaked it with different elements. Because in the taste profile, you'll see that you have both the elements of the fruit, you have the elements of these chocolate raw notes, and you have the elements of the non-volatiles, which is the elements from the wood. And the American oak with the sweetness element, but also the French oak with the spice elements. And I agree with Jeff, by the way. I love to sip it. I've been sipping it all along, listening to you again tonight. And I opened my bottle with all the signatures on it. I said, the hell with it. That could be fun. I see your little signatures on them. And I thought that would be cool. And so that's how it was built. And that's what under the wood. And if you want, I can tell you all my blending notes from the time what was in there. That would take a while. I just wanted to explain really when I listened to all of you, this is what struck my mind. The elements would be brought forward. Because remember, Jeff, you had brought one of the old rum that you proposed was a very Jamaican-y, you know.
Well, it was a bottle of Dagger Dark Jamaican Punch Rum. It was 97 proof.
Yeah.
And then I also brought a Yellow Label Lemon Heart 151, which per Paul's early point and Dave's early point was a fatter overproof. It wasn't the thin overproof that we were trying to counteract. And you took those two and made something better.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you, Jeff. But you know, and it's exactly that. That's what I took home is that how can we create substance, you know, and something that you can sip on and taste for a long time on your palate, and something that is when you work with all these ingredients. You know, the big challenge is how you create what we call in French fondu. How do you integrate these elements So they're not like a cat and a dog, fighting in the glass or in the bottle. How you integrate this, and that's where it's hard because they got to make friends, and that's what it was.
From the beginning, the goal was never to be a copy of an old rum, right? I think we all agree on this. It was always, the goal was always to create our own classic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you guys did.
Well, thanks.
Right? More stuff.
Well, real quick. I mean, you guys, flipped through that very quickly, but I just wanted to explain quickly the elements that were there. So there's younger elements of Jamaican that are pot still. There's old pot stills from Jamaica, but quite heavy. And just a little touch of super heavy stuff. 150, 1,500. TECC, if people knows from Long Pond. I love the Clarendon. I'm not going to go into details, but in Jamaica, you have the Southern style, which is fruit lighter forward, delicious, very elegant, Long Pond Northern style, very full-bodied. So I thought the two, again, would bring a lot. If you want to go to next note, I used, some French notes. This is Guillaume taking a picture. This is Guillaume doing spying at Long Pond, spying at the distillery at Long Pond, in the office where you see all the different marks, that are registered. Yeah. There's many more. Guyana, obviously, I use different pot stills from Guyana, and again, and rather young. I just wanted that really raw chocolatey element to be there, like on your palate. And that's why, in that case, I use that. And if you want to show next one also, Guillaume, you'll see the older elements. Remember when you talk about bonificateur, the elements that are going to give you that taste that's going to linger, that you use very old bonificateur. Yeah, glad to see Neil Glasgow at the bottom on this picture. He's retired last year in December. And then obviously this open vat fermentation going on and on, creating these super deep elements of taste that you taste when you taste the rum. Next one, Guillaume, you'll see the elements from, you see the real story name. We covered that already. And I don't know if we covered Barbados.
Yes, we did. Was at the beginning.
Yeah, we did.
Which was a blend of pot and Cullen and the extra notes of pot, that we took at the very last minute.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Alexandre. I think it's important that we have an idea of what's under the hood, right? When you look at a car, you want to just look at what's in the engine. And obviously, this is not as simple as those slides. There is a lot more components. But that's it. It happened on that night. We talked about the name. People always get that question. I think it's good now that we just talk about applications, because that's really what's so important, right? How do you drink this?
I'll just say, Guillaume, to me, it's super cool as somebody who does product development to kind of go deep on this. And I can imagine just getting all these schedules working and getting all these amazing guys in the room was a victory unto itself. But there's just so many layers to product development that I think most people in the industry don't understand unless you're a part of something like this. So it's super cool for you guys to lay it out. And it's really interesting to see, the approach, methodical approach it was taken to doing it. And by the way, very sippable, as you guys said, not thin, pretty fatty. I'm sitting here sipping, doing well.
Can be done. Amazing.
First drink, Paul. You want to talk about
also
this?
Also good in coffee. Or anything.
Maybe he does a great apple tart with that, actually.
I bet.
Mr. McGee, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. So, yeah, what I wanted to make was basically a riff of a 151 swizzle, but just with the OFTD as the base. I really like the spice elements that are present in the OFTD, like a lot of cinnamon and clove notes that I get on the back end. So what I wanted to do was make something that was spicy, but had a little bit of fruit in there as well with the pomegranate. So yeah, you can read the recipe, and the best part about this is that you can sip on it for a long time. Like I've been sipping on this one here for a while. But yeah, I really liked. I really like all the elements that are there. It does have quite a lot of weight to it, but it really works well with other rums as well. Even though the OFTD Swizzle is solely OFTD, it really works well with other rums, which I really like too.
Cool. I just got an idea, but I won't talk about it online. I'll call you guys later.
Oh,
Let's talk about it in Barbados.
2.0.
I'll call Alexander first. You know how it works, and then I'll call you.
Somebody asked for an overproof pineapple, please.
I love that.
I don't know if that's something.
Man.
Thanks,
I'm trying
Paul.
to kill him.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Okay, guys, little spoiler. I just put for when you guys come. Don't tell anybody. I think everybody's listening. I'm gonna get killed. I just put some of the Stiggins into an Isla whiskey barrel. You know. And you know what? I thought would yell at me. You know. And actually is really really nice. You know. That roasted elements that you get. Anyway, that's another thing. The barrel is waiting for you guys. It's right here.
I cannot wait.
Okay. Well, maybe the barrel can come to you. We'll see what we can do. Next drink.
Okay. I was reading I was researching something in old newspapers a couple of weeks ago, and I was researching that whole Kilroy was here thing where people used to write it all over everywhere as graffiti, and who the hell is this guy Kilroy? And I find this article from 1945 that it's saying Kilroy has many names depending on where you are, and it's Kilroy and blank, and among them was just this word Ugats. And I'm looking at that, and then I started laughing because they just put it in this newspaper from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ugats is Sicilian for that fucking guy. It's Ugats is a dick. So it's like Ugats. You got to say it like that. You got to use your fingers. Ugats. Ugats. It was like, and I'd had a really hard day, so I said, hey, let me make an Ugats. And so I reached for the OFTD and the Amaro Zucca and just splashed them in. I actually used equal parts. You can use a little more, a little less. You can do it however you want, and just shake it really hard. Don't stir it. Shake it, and it'll shape your head very profoundly.
Might be a modern classic right here. The Ugats.
It's very simple.
Ugats.
Ugats. You got to put a little spin in it when you say it.
You need the head. I have to give a little anecdote. I have to give a little anecdote from Tiki by the Sea, Europe, because this really reminds me of that. There was an Italian bartender, not to be named, who may have been passed out on a couch at one point, literally laying like this with his hands like this. There's a photo of this. And in his dream, he's Ugatsing. He's Ugatsing in the dream. It's phenomenal.
Maybe that was the birth of the classic.
There you go. Ugats.
So that's the Ugats.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry, there's a question. There's actually a question for Paul.
Yes.
There's a question for Paul on his recipe. The pomegranate syrup, is it the same as pomegranate molasses or more like a grenadine?
No, it's more like a grenadine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's go
no
to the next
questions on
drink.
Ugats so far. I think everybody's.
They're already sedated. They're off practicing their hand gestures.
It's more about the delivery than it is the actual making of the drink.
And the most Parisian of all of us, Scotty Schuder.
All right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right. Well, so my addition for this is one of my first couple drinks that I made with OFTD, and I was kind of going back to the roots. Don the Beachcomber. It's very zombie-esque in style. You see, it's a little heavy on the rum. You're working with 3 different. You're working with OFTD, the Stiggins Pineapple, and the Plantation Barbados 5. The passion syrup is done with fresh passion fruit and then Szechuan pepper. And yeah, I think you're only going to need about 1 of these, and it'll get you.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Challenge
It's great, and it really tastes a lot better than that photo, by the way. But that's all I had going for me.
You took the photo after you made the drink and drank it.
That was after like the 9th tasting of the drink, and so there you go. We don't use plastic straws anymore, or maybe sometimes, but yeah. So it definitely tastes a lot better than the photo.
And I would call this one the Aloha Wee.
Oh.
And
That's my kind of drink.
If I could throw this in, my grandma's watching. It's her 94th birthday at midnight, so just a little shout out to my grandma and her 91st birthday.
All right.
Cheers, Grandma.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Well,
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
happy birthday, and it's definitely Aloha Bonne Nuit. Huh?
Bon nuit.
Hey, Scotty, there was a question on the spec for that syrup.
Yeah. What's the question?
You want to talk about the spec for that passion fruit Szechuan syrup real quick?
So it's about 50, depending on the size of the passion fruits you get in your country. Ours are about a little smaller than a tennis ball, but some of them bigger. And depending on how much fruit's inside, it's about 10 to 15 passion fruit insides to a liter of water. You add your sugar. I crack the Szechuan pepper and just let it simmer for about an hour afterwards, or else the Szechuan can be a little bit too spicy on the tongue. But yeah, there you go.
All right.
Sounds great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if there's no blood orange in season, just use orange. And obviously everything's fresh. So.
But you confirm it's for 1 person.
Hey, let's make
Let's look at the recipe again.
No, but I'm fine with it. But well,
it's only 3 ounces of booze, guys. Come on.
okay.
Tranquilized one horse.
For one fucking guy.
Yeah. Who gets?
Very well balanced. Okay.
2 guts and you're in the same place. So you know.
Okay. Scotty, any more details on your drink? No. You there? Scotty? No?
I'm sorry, the internet just paused out. What did you say?
No worries. Are you done? Any more details?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can
good.
move on.
All right, cool. Next drink. Beachbum Berry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm blushing. It's the Ponche Aslan, and I made it for a group of Southern California tiki people called the Vatos Who Tiki. And
We're in the shirt.
a cool bunch of guys, and it's basically Aslan. If you didn't grow up in the San Fernando Valley in the 70s and see it pasted on the side of every van that drove by you, it's basically Aztec legend of a city of refuge north of Mexico City, legendary place that they could call around. It's basically Los Angeles, as it, the way the Aztecs wanted it to be. So, and it was a big, huge movement to reclaim Aztlan in the 70s. The punch was meant to make you forget about Aztlan. And we do that with 2 ounces of OFTD. And this is a riff on basically the same thing that Paul said. The 151 Swizzle. It's the first I think it's for all of us. It's the first go-to drink when you're trying to do something with an overproof rum, because it doesn't obliterate the taste of the rum with too much stuff. Totally. So this is mostly rum, and then just without trying to disguise all the fun flavors of the rum. You just put in a little lime, a little simple. And then just to make it more interesting for the 21st century, because you can't really get away with something that simple anymore. Just a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of allspice. Again, something they were using back in the 1950s, but just a hair, just to give it a little teasingly elusive back note. And then you swizzle that with ice, not so it doesn't get too diluted. And then
Aaron's ready to make this.
Oh,
Aaron's
okay,
ready
great.
to make it for us right now.
All
Better
right.
you than me, Aaron.
What's going on? First of all, got a little aromatics going on with the OFTD just out in the open for, inspiration. And now I fully understand why it smells so damn and tastes so damn good. But starting off, a little bit of citrus. So as Mr. Berry has stated, 3/4 of an ounce, or actually a full ounce of that. And then we're going to go with 3/4 of an ounce. I chose to use a Demerara 1-to-1 syrup. Mr. Berry, do you have any comments on that, sir?
Calumny. No, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Aaron's gone. We're removing him. Bye.
Okay, God. Sorry. Again, we're going to use a bar spoon of vanilla syrup. And basically, I just took 2 vanilla beans and reduced it with 1-to-1 simple syrup and let it steep for about 30-35 minutes. And then took it off and strained. A little bit of allspice jam. And I felt it was appropriate, sir. You might recognize this spoon. I don't know, you might have created or inspired the creation of that.
Wow, there you go.
You're forgiven for the Demerara syrup now.
Back in good graces.
Always forgiven.
And then finally, our 2 ounces of OFTD rum. And then I have this lovely, lovely pebble ice that we've gotten from the wonderful world of Chick-fil-A.
Garnish with a sandwich.
It is just swizzle it around a little bit. Top off with more ice. I have yet to find a way to use pebbled or crushed ice without making a mess around me, but I was told that if you don't make a mess, you're not exactly making the drink right.
Never stop.
So we have your lime and your cinnamon stick as garnish. And this smells delicious. I can't wait to sip it.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Very
Thank you.
nice. Thank you, sir.
There you go, Dave. There you go. There you go.
I got it.
Champagne.
Perfect. I'll throw that recipe up again for anybody at home. Look at all these recipes. I mean, we're just gonna have to not do any for a few weeks because quite the mix.
Well, if you all drink Scotty's recipe, no one's going to be fit state to drink anything anyway. So.
Just ready to take some artistic photos of
take over the world.
Any more recommendations you guys would have on how to use OFTD in a simple way at home for somebody who's not a pro at mixing?
I would throw all 3 of these recipes together into one drink and just call it that fucking guy on the floor. Yeah, a very good party drink, actually.
It's a good question.
Put it in pipettes and pass them around.
It's a good question because I haven't provided a recipe, but I've been at the front end of introducing OFTD to bartenders around the world, and it's wonderful in context with other rums because it's a wonderful example of how you can use a large amount of alcohol, not just to knock someone out and for the thin ethanol itself, but to carry big flavors. And what it's done is really inspired people. I can give you examples of there's a bar in Cardiff in Wales right now that are making OFTD slushies just for the hospitality industry over the course of the next 2 months. In fact, the next 2 or 3 months, I think. I've been sipping on today a pre-made cocktail that one of our customers have made with OFTD and green tea and and raspberry. I've seen quite a broad array of applications for it, not just people trying to pass me shots of it at 2 a.m. to try and make me bring it back up again. It's like the people have embraced what OFTD is really about and how they can sort of bring it to life. Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear more in the chat, for example. Like I'd love to hear how some of these guys are using it, because that's what we did when we set about doing it. We were trying to create. That was part of the energy in the room. We were trying to create something for ourselves, but also, as Paul said, as Jeff said, like we were trying to create something for bartenders, for like to try and create our own legacy, but give tools to people.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to that, Paul, I mean, I've got 2 menu drinks at Latitude that use it in concert with other rums, just as you described.
Yeah.
We had a drink from the very beginning called the Mr. Curtis, which is sort of like a chai accented daiquiri. And I originally mixed it with just a Gold Virgin Islands rum and then a 151 Puerto Rican, just to give it some oomph. And it never quite felt right until we had OFTD, and I substituted the OFTD for the 151. And then all of a sudden, it just had that fatness that we discussed earlier that you really want in a cocktail. You just don't want to drink something too thin. And it works. So that's been on our menu for years now. The other one was the Puka Punch, which was like a old school classic. And I found that the OFTD worked better than Lemonade. It worked better than a 151 Demerara because it was rounder, it was fuller, and it just sort of like gave the drink the body it needed. So those are at least 2. I think we probably have it in some other stuff. We don't do the bowl drinks anymore because of COVID, but I'm pretty sure we had it in some of those too. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hey, Pete, is there anything from the chat or any questions about drinks or applications that we might answer?
Let me see what else we have here. One question: was there anything that you guys left out of the blend that you would have changed if you could have now?
Good question.
Well, there were about 2,000 barrels in that we didn't use.
We have to go back and try them all.
With them different blank slate we would have gone back to.
Sounds like a month-long trip to Cognac to sift through all those barrels. Yeah.
No, it was never about trying to.
You know,
it was never about trying to take things away. It was always about trying to add things.
Yeah.
Like, just
yeah.
trying to.
Yeah. You know, I just want to throw a little, when you build a rum like this, it's hard. And when you fuck it up, usually you have to start from the ground up. What we did with that little tweak at the end is unusual, and that's why I thought the "Oh fuck, that's delicious" was just a leap of faith, because, I mean, when you blend something, it's almost like a Mikado work that you have to redo. And that's my first point. And so, because it's got to work together. And it's not like I add this and I add that and it's going to meet somewhere in the middle. It actually meets somewhere else, And so that's what it is. And,
in a motel.
That's also, yeah, it's true. And that's the way, that could have been the name of David. And exactly. But that's the way it was built. And for this, again, I just, I listen to all of you, and reminds me sitting at this very table where I'm right now. And it really shows one thing, is I miss all the bars, and it's all about the love that is shared. And also reminds me one thing is, I built the instrument, you guys play the music, and you do a goddamn good music. When I look at these drinks and things like this, and I think it's wonderful. It was such a privilege and a wonderful thing to be working with all of you. So I just wanted, with all this, and I know we talk very often, but we never reconvene like that, and that's why it's overdue now.
Yeah, next time should be in Barbados.
Yeah, we will do that in Barbados.
Here, here.
Amazing.
Get the coconuts out. Get the machete.
Okay.
Got a story to tell you about this today.
Anything else from the chat?
I think we're good. There is a question if you guys want to answer it on how the name change is going on Plantation.
Sure, I can jump in here. Of course, we're working we made that decision, as you know, and we're working very hard on this. We work every day, looking at all the possibilities. It's like, a big, we didn't find the right name yet, and as soon as it is found, we're going to put it out there. We got Angelique and working at it every day, talking with different naming companies and stuff. So we're at it for sure. And as soon as it's done, we're going to put it out.
Got it. Great. Well, don't go anywhere, guys. We have a quick 5 questions. We're going to say goodbye, maybe do a last toast with you all. So we'll bring you back momentarily. Wow, so many people. It's fantastic. All right. Hey.
Hey. Hello.
Hold on. I still got to remove Paul. Where's he at? Can't even find everybody. Amazing. You made it. What a session.
Yay.
All right. Quick 5 questions for you.
Okay.
Favorite Tiki by the Sea memory?
Oh, dude. Being in the pool and figuring out using the pool noodle to somebody sits in the middle, you pour the alcohol down, you blow it into the other person's face.
That's actually the only way you should drink an Ugats.
Exactly. Grandma still got skills, man.
That's the Ugats serve. Nice.
Got to teach these youngins right.
Right. Very good. Very good. Weirdest thing you saw in Wildwood? Weirdest thing.
Oh, God. Let's see. Oh, yeah. A Midwesterner who had never seen the ocean.
Wow.
He had never seen the ocean. And, I'm from Florida originally, so that's pretty wild. Blew my mind. Absolutely.
Wild. Wow. So the first time he saw the ocean was at Tiki by the Sea.
Yeah, at night. So, yeah, wow. It was great. It was absolutely great.
That's amazing. All right.
We made sure he was well taken care of.
Favorite cocktail you had at Tiki by the Sea?
Oh, dear Lord. Probably on the other side of the pool needle. No, I'm kidding. Gosh, I can't think. There were a lot of good ones. There was a lot of zombie that I had. Huh?
There's plenty of daiquiris. You could always just, fall back.
There was a lot of daiquiris. And there was a really good zombie variation that I had too. So.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. Describe South Jersey.
South Jersey? What a mid-century modern marvel that I did not know was there. Oh my God. I lived in New York 10 years, had no idea about Wildwood, and my architecture boner was just as tall as the fucking Liberty Building. So
it was name. Architecture boner.
It was amazing.
Tell us what's going on.
I never knew about that.
Tell us what's going on in NOLA.
In NOLA, we're starting to come back to life like everybody else. I'm juiced up, and so finally back to work. I'm working at Palm and Pine, which deals with cane and agave spirits. Big surprise. It's a small chef-owned restaurant, and it feels so good to be able to shake and stir again. So, like I said earlier, it's like I was like jiggering my cat's water after a while. So, and she still gave me a 1-star on Yelp. She's kind of a bitch. So, yeah.
Steva, what did I forget?
I think you got it.
Got it. Awesome. Well, it's great to see you. Thanks.
It's great to see you guys.
Oh, this is
yes.
I don't know what that is. That's cute. That's
so
Dave.
good.
That's Dave getting a layback. But what I actually wanted to show is this, which is the next session on May 18th. That's Guillaume's deck. Very nice. May 18th, we have Chelsea on So You Want to Be a Consultant, Best Practices and Things to Consider, which I think could be super cool, especially as things come back to life. Let me bring everybody back to say goodbye. Awesome to see you. Thank you very much. Team, can we get everyone? Let's see what happens here. Hey, guys.
Hey.
So you found that photo. You found that photo that I found.
That was hilarious. That was a good photo. Dave says his Brooklyn backyard internet is kicked out, so he gives us our regards. But we had him for most of the time, which was magical indeed.
Hey, Peter, I got a small request before we go.
Yes, please.
Do you think Guillaume could take us out in the tall ships toast? That's possible. You son of a bitch.
I think Baron McFadyen should be doing this because he knows it better than me.
I'll do that without Mitchell Wilson being here. I will lead this toast. So, repeat after me, everybody. There are tall ships.
There are
There are small ships.
There
are ships that sail the sea.
Ships that sail the sea.
But the best ships
The best ships
are friendships. So here's to me and all of you.
And
all of you.
Your health, guys.
Excellent. Well, I finished my glass.
Amazing. Thank you so much to everybody. It was really great to have you all. Guillaume, great job bringing everybody together. It's a minor miracle, but best of luck as things are restarting. Let us know if we can do anything for you guys. Hope to see you in person at Tiki by the Sea one of these days as well. And in Barbados, now that we have the invite.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Wonderful.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.